Some of my favorite stories to read are stories where the main character learns his lesson in the end. One such story is called The Sweetest Fig, and it's written by Chris van Allsburg. I hope you enjoy it. Monsieur Bibot, the dentist, was a very fussy man. He kept his small apartment as neat and clean as his office. If his dog Marcel jumped on the furniture, Bibot was sure to teach him a lesson. Except on Bastille Day, the poor animal was not even allowed to bark. One morning, Bibot met an old woman waiting at his office door. She had a toothache and begged the dentist to help. "But you have no appointment," he told her. The woman moaned. Bibot looked at his watch. Perhaps there was time to make a few extra francs. He took her inside and looked in her mouth. "This tooth must come out," he said with a smile. When he was done, the dentist said, "I will give you some pills to kill the pain." The old woman was very grateful. "I can't pay you in money, but I have something much better." She took out 2 figs from her pocket and handed them to Bibot. "Figs?" he said angrily. "These figs are very special," the woman whispered. "They can make your dreams come true." She winked at him and put a finger to her lips. It was clear to Bibot that the woman was crazy. He set the figs down and took her by the arm. When she reminded him about the pills, he said, "I'm sorry, only for paying customers," and shoved her out the door. That evening, Bibot took his little dog to the park. Poor Marcel. He loved to snip the tree trunks and bushes, but whenever he stopped, Bibot would pull sharply on the leash. Just before going to bed, the dentist had a small snack. He sat at the dining room table and ate one of the figs the old woman had given him. It was delicious, possibly the finest, sweetest fig he'd ever had. In the morning, Bibot dragged Marcel down the stairs for his morning walk. The steep steps were hard for the short-legged dog. But Bibot wouldn't think of carrying his pet. He hated to get Marcel's white hairs on his beautiful blue suit. As he walked along the sidewalk, Bibot could not help but notice people were looking at him. "They're admiring my suit," he thought. But when Bibot saw his reflection in the window of a cafe, he stopped in horror. He was dressed in only his underwear. The dentist turned and ran down the alley. "Sacre bleu," he thought. "What has happened to my clothes?" And then he remembered the dream he had that night. In his dream, he'd stood in front of that very cafe, dressed in his underwear. Something else had happened in his dream, and Bibot struggled to recall it. Marcel looked out from the shadows of the alley and began to bark. The dentist looked up and saw the rest of his dream come true. No one noticed Bibot as he ran home in his underwear. All the eyes of Paris were fixed on the Eiffel Tower, which slowly drooped over as if it were made of soft rubber. Bibot understood now that the old woman with the figs had told the truth. He would not waste the second fig. The next few weeks, as reconstruction of the Eiffel Tower began, the dentist read on books of hypnotism. Each night before he went to sleep, he gazed into the mirror and whispered over and over, "Bibot is the richest man on earth. Bibot is the richest man on earth." Soon in his dreams, that's exactly what he was. As he slept, the dentist saw himself steering his speedboat, flying his airplane, and living in luxury on the Riviera. Night after night, it was the same. One evening, Bibot took the second fig from his cupboard. It would not last forever. "Tonight," he thought, "is the night." He put the ripe fruit on a dish and set it on his table. Tomorrow he'd wake up the richest man in the world. He looked down at Marcel and smiled. The little dog would not be coming along. In his dreams, Bibot had Great Danes. As the dentist reached into his cupboard to take some cheese, he heard the crash of breaking china. He turned to see Marcel standing on the chair with his front paws on the table, chewing the last of the fig. Bibot was furious. He chased the dog around the apartment. When Marcel ran beneath the bed, Bibou yelled at him, "Tomorrow I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget." Then the dentist, angry and heartbroken, went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, Bibou was confused. He was not in his bed. He was beneath it. Suddenly, a face appeared in front of him. His own face. "Time for your walk," it said. "Come to, Marcel." A hand reached out and grabbed him. Bibou tried to yell, but all he could do was bark. The end.